people who are going to take you higher. That's Oprah Winfrey, if you don't know. Now, let that marinate in because that's part of the reason why we're all here today. This is not just a podcast, it's a stage for women and their allies. This is not just women about women. Okay, we'll take allies who are building communities, lifting others, paying it forward, and shaping the future of AI and cybersecurity. So today, you're not just tuning in, you're becoming part of this movement. And we want to welcome you to the Rockstar Women in AI and Cybersecurity podcast, where rising higher is something that we do together. So, welcome to
Cool.
Femke, who is part of the reason why we are all here. And Danielle, why don't you guys take a minute to just briefly tell us about who you are?
Let's start with Danielle,
Oh,
Yes,
the most
okay.
important guest of today.
of course.
Yeah, so I'm Danielle Moon, for those who I don't know. I am founder of Women in Power, which is a community that is thriving. It's grassroots. We're doing all the fun things. I'm sure we'll get a little bit more in depth later. And then in my daytime job, I actually work for Microsoft as a seller within the Dynamics and Power Platform space for retail and consumer goods. So I get to shop with my customers and they get to shop with me, and it's all great.
That sounds awesome. Wow. Good to have you, Daniela. And thank you, Melissa, for all the things that you do for us. And congrats on the first podcast, because the first one, and I know how much you wanted this. So I'm really excited. And it doesn't even is only a podcast. I'm also put it online on LinkedIn for everyone. So I love to do that, but thank you for doing this for our community. Short introduction, I'm Cornelissen, Chief Co-Pilot at Wortel, and I can say I have one big love, and I think the biggest love is of course my children, but the second love is doing a lot of things for the community. And of course, my family is really important, but as well, the community is really important because it let me grow, it's let others grow, and we can learn from each other, and it gives me so many good things. Yeah, I love to build communities and I love to help others as well. And I think that's all what I can say who I am and what I do. So thankful for doing this with all of you.
Well, this is fantastic. And as you all listening in can tell, we are all very passionate. So, why don't we start with the reason why we are here today, right? We build a community called Rockstars Women in AI and Cybersecurity because of many different reasons, okay? One of the most important reasons is we wanted for other people to take the stage, like Danielle today, and to have those voices spread out through the world because we are really powerful. We just don't always know it. And those that support us have supported us in so many ways that it's important for those stories to come here. Now, this is not just a feel good podcast, okay? We're going to do things here. We want you to leave with something that is of value. But so, why don't we get started with a little bit about building community? Because Danielle, as you clearly stated, you also have a Women in Power community. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would love to. So I will have to agree. Kids get first part of the heart. I have 4 of them, and
Wow.
they keep me busy. I have 3 boys and a girl, and so it's always interesting dynamically to also just see how you're raising those kind of people, right? It's struggling, it's beautiful, but I also really subscribe to the idea that in order for me to show up the best for them, is to ensure that I'm also taking care of myself. I'm also following my passions and my pursuits, because I realized very early on, if I wasn't thriving, I wasn't able to thrive with them. And so that's where a lot of this, like, oh my gosh, why do you do this on top of all these things? And it's like, this feeds me, this fills my cup. And so anyways, a year and a half-ish, 2 years ago, I found myself in a Microsoft room where we had some brilliant minds together. We had our engineering people, we had our sales people, we had our technical specialists. And it's kind of like a therapy session where we get to do direct feedback and say, like, why isn't this working? Our customers want these. And it's all internal. It's beautiful. Because, I mean, one thing everyone knows about Power Platform is we are an interesting breed of very passionate nerds. And so when you put that all together, it's a great time. But anyways, at the end of this meeting, and there's a couple of days, we were like taking pictures, and it was, huge group of us in a room, plus we had people online, but those that were in the group or in person, there was like maybe 80 people. And then I was like, oh, let's get all the women together to take a picture of all the women in the room. And it shrunk from 80 to about 8. And it was a devastating blow because you're aware of it, but you're not aware of it until you say, like, let's everyone, and everyone like exits, and you're like, oh my God. So that was the first like big aha. The second was when I looked around to those 8-ish, I didn't know all of them. And it was one of those moments where I thought, oh, I've done a disservice. I haven't connected with others that might be more like-minded and have a viewpoint that I could share, understand, or be coached and mentored with. So I said a very bold thing to Sonia and Susie in the room. And I said, I'm going to create a community. And like typical fashion, like, have I thought it all the way through? Absolutely not. And I was like, I'm gonna make a community so that we can really, like, if we're gonna be the small one in the room, like, we should be really, really niche and understand each other. And I was like, I want to be able to tell each of your stories so that I find myself in a room and I can promote your story. And it was just a bold thing. I came home and I was like, told my husband, I'm like, you don't know what I just did, but like I just did something big, I'm pretty sure. And then of course, then the imposter mindset, and they're like, oh, I gotta get all these things. And for anyone who knows me, I would classify myself as type C. I'm not type A. I'm more of like the hippie who has a big idea, and then I go, we need to make this happen. So anyways, a few months later, I'm talking with Dave Milton, and he was like, where's this community you said you were going to do? And I was like, one, I regret telling you, because once you say it out loud, people hold you accountable for it. And I was like, second, oh, I have to do this mission, I have to do this, and I have to do the vision, and blah, blah. And he's like, what's the thing you say he was like, that really stupid funny. And I was like, starting. And he goes, sounds like you just need to start starting. And I was like, okay. And so, yeah, here it is, like, well, and honestly, I thought, if I get 100 women, how amazing would this be to just be connected and networked with 100 women? And now we are almost 3,000 strong, and starting our 4th cohort. So anyways, I totally got lost with my own excitement of that. But that is Women in Power and kind of how we got started in this mix.
Awesome. It's a great story. And I think you also say, like, the imposter syndrome, that's something that absolutely a topic in the community, especially in women in tech communities. So you probably can help others as well on that, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's living your truth with that, right? Like, understanding that sometimes in order to help, you've got to be the first one willing to fail. And I've really grown close to that mentality of, like, I'm willing to be the first to fail so that somebody else can learn.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that.
So, Danielle, tell us a little bit about, you said you're starting your new cohort. Why don't you tell us what that means? Because for those of us that are not part of the community, right?
That's my excitement. Okay, so we really wanted to think of 3 pillars of what defined us, right? There's lots of communities out there, and you should involve yourself in all of them, because everybody's going to have a couple of gems that you can pull from. And like I say, be greedy with your communities. And so ours is going to be founded on mentorship being one of the biggest ones. From personal experience, I realized way too late in my career how powerful mentorship really can be. And the second one is skilling, and the third is networking. And so what we've really knocked out of the park is our mentoring program. Shravani and Shreya have done this amazing job leading it. And the cohort experience is a 3-month mentoring program. So you sign up, you get a mentor, and then it's kind of a choose your own adventure in some ways. You get to decide, are you really focused on soft skills? We have some that focus on wanting to build their first app, right? So they come in with a mindset of, I want to accomplish X during 3 months. And during that, we're also giving value add to the mentors, because one thing we're also realizing, there's a lot of women and men who are like, I want to be a mentor. I have no idea how to be one. And I'm like, well, throw yourself in, and that's the fastest way you're going to figure it out. So we do a lot of coaching. We meet up with the mentors. We meet up with the mentees. We do showcases, which has become probably my favorite. So we allow mentors and mentees to actually get spotlighted to showcase an app they've built, or just present on anything, so they get public speaking. That you don't realize how many people don't get the opportunity just to present on a topic.
No.
We recently had a woman who talked about a grief cycle that you go through after a project. And I'm telling you, a lot of people are just like nodding their heads, being like, oh my God, I do go through a grief cycle when a big project ends. And I've never, thought about how that really messes with me getting into the next project in a healthy mindset. So we have a wide variety of who comes out there. Henrietta was just focused on our team because she built our first app, and she's a medical doctor. Just cool.
That's amazing, right? Yeah, so different kind of perspectives, different kind of way of thinking. And if you have a community that brings that all together, it's amazing to see what you can build, but as well learn from each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, so Femke, in our community, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people that have no idea what we're doing. It is so new, right? And we have so much to learn still as well. That's why I've been here too. But tell us a little bit about what we're doing. We can, let's tell everybody what's happening in Rockstar Women in AI.
Yeah. How many time do you have? But yes, a lot of things happening there. And I don't have imposter syndrome. I don't have that. I think I publish things online before I even think about it. So that's how it even started as well. But I was in San Francisco with the MISA Award. I was nominated for the MISA Award of Security Change Maker of the Year. And I saw so many good stories, so many people who share a lot of things in diversity. And I was thinking I have as well, like Dutch Women in Tech. That's a community in the Netherlands. Really Dutch-based. Everything is in our own language, and really safe in the Netherlands. It's growing as well really fast, and it's really lovely because we do different kind of sessions. But then I thought, when we were when I was in San Francisco, and I had a conversation as well with Melissa before that, and we say we missed something here. There are so many communities, there are so many people who are doing things, but what we're missing is the people who are already in tech. So Dutch Women in Tech is more based on people who are not in tech and want to learn and want to find out. Same as that we're doing with Women in Cyber, for women who are not already in cyber, but as well mentoring and a coaching program that we have in the Netherlands, and now is as well worldwide. But we miss something up of that. And then I was thinking, okay, do we going to do this as well? Because this is like the third community that we're building. But there are so many people who want to grow in the community and want to make a next step by being more visible for themselves, for their own career, but as well for learning from each other. How can we help them? So, and the only thing I want to ask in return is, and I always say it to Melissa as well, if I can help someone, I ask in return that they help as well others. And I think that's the only way how we can grow and how we can make it scalable, because not only me and Melissa can do this by ourselves, we need people around us who get energized by things, have some knowledge in some kind of area that they want to share. So let's search for that and let's find out what we can do there. So that's where it started. And so I was at the airport in San Francisco and I just posted one, like, okay, going to creative forums, people can join the community. And after like the flight home and one LinkedIn post, we had 150 women who already signed up to join the community. So, and I think that's amazing that you see that people want to grow, don't know where to start, or want to share their experience as well. But yeah, and then how do you going to start that, and what is actually what we wanted to do, and what do we want to bring? And what I think it's we find people around us who say, okay, we also want to do something. Melissa want to do the podcast. I'm so thankful for that. We do internal sessions on how to make a podcast or how to speak at conferences. There is always some things that you can learn from others, how they started that, and where do you need to find the right people, or where do you need to find that kind of opportunities, or how did someone else started on that, but as well how to start a YouTube channel or how to start your own website. So that are all kind of internal sessions that we do that people can join. It's not out of the public, so as we do now, but just internal, so everyone can ask the questions and it's a safe space to be with each other. But as well, we work together with Team Co-Pilots. It's the one that we do with our great ally, Cornelissen, where we do a lot of things around Co-Pilot and sharing knowledge around Co-Pilot. So what we said is, how can we use that platform to let that platform grow, but as well give everyone an opportunity to share their knowledge there. So we do meetups. We started every month, but I think we have already every three every month, because so many people want to join and want to share their experience. We have groups of people who make different kind of website blog posts about the knowledge, and someone is starting and the other one is joining in and giving their perspective. And the thing that is mostly, I think the thing that I love is that you see that someone is starting, someone else gives their opinion, and then they shine together. It's not a one thing anymore. And the other thing is everyone is from all over the world. So we did a postcard thing, and making a postcard with co-pilots and sent a postcard by brief on to the other side of the world, and then you learn from each other. You know who the other person is, and hopefully you get in contact with each other as well. And I think that's amazing. So many things that are already there, or so many things that are happening you don't see or you just hear about. But we try to create a space where the people want to grow, that they're gonna grow here, and maybe they're gonna grow on other sides as well. But this is something that we can provide and can help with all the knowledge that we have, and we still need to learn by yourself as well. But we found people around us. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up perfectly. And then technically, like Danielle said, we do anything that comes up, right? People want to join, they want to put their effort in, and they're all great ideas. There's so much we can do. We don't have enough time, or people. And so part of that, what you both said, that I want to point out very, very, I want to focus on, is the fact that you said, so-and-so took this initiative, so-and-so took that initiative. I'm doing the podcast, you're doing this, she's doing that. We're all doing something. That is what the community is about. So it's not, can you come in and just sit and do nothing? Of course, that's a choice. But the idea here is that through these communities, we all find each other. And in our case in particular, we learned about AI. Now we focus a lot on Copilot, of course, that's our bestie, but we do other AIs as well. And that's fine, because there's growth for everybody. So the idea here is that we are using, in this case, AI to help us grow. So in that case, I want to ask you both. I'll tell you a little bit about my take on it, but I was and have been and continue to be very concerned about the lack of input from women, whether it's because of lack of access, because, leadership is not mostly female, and that's where it usually starts, but also the salary gap that is increasingly growing due to a lack of AI skills. So what we want to do here is we want for everybody to grow, to show a little bit about what they can do, and to ask and to feel supported. So what we do a lot is we have it's a WhatsApp group, right? Which I think we forgot to mention.
Yeah, true.
And in that group, you can send out messages and say, hey, I'm going to be sending out this post. What do you guys think? Can somebody help me test? And those kind of things are just the support that I think we all need. So that was one of the things that really brings me into this, because not only does it take a village, because it takes like 17 villages to do something great, but also the effect that it can have. So why don't you, Danielle, from your community side, and also Femke from your vision of, Rockstars, what is that, that next thing that we can all, whether in a community or not, affect by reaching out and doing things together?
Oh, that's such a great question, because there's so many things, we're not lacking for ideas. I think a lot of it that at least I see is we have some women who are so amazing in the technical space, but having extroverted women in the technical space is also very not always there, right? And so having women who are the ones who are a little bit more on the quiet side, who are analytical, who are sitting back and thinking, and not just the loudest voice in the room, that's what I'm also focusing on a lot of, because I think they have a lot more strength in the quiet than someone like me out here making jokes and having fun with it, right? Like that is one thing. The other part is just raising your hand, like you said, the simple act of saying I'm interested and I want to help and I want to do something. What I'm finding with the community is asking is easy. Holding accountability and expectations of delivery is different. And so helping women understand, not just like someone says, oh, I want to help. It's immediately following that with like, here's how you can help. Right, then that emboldens a lot more people to want to lean in, because they're like, I have a task, I have something I can contribute to. And I'm seeing so many more coming out of their shell, seeing the value, because perhaps in the situation they're in right now, they're not seen as a valuable player. They're just part of a team that's working on something, that's building a product or doing that. But by elevating and giving them a platform, giving them a network, they're seeing their self-worth in a very different way. And so I love kind of where we're.
I think we've Danielle.
Yeah.
Your video, your feed is a little spotty. We can't hear you.
No, shall I take over?
Up and then this.
So we have a little
glitch, but that's we're here, right?
Don't know what's happening, but
you are back.
You're a robot.
I think almost back. Well, why don't you give your point, Femke, and then we'll wait.
You got a little bit technical. Can you hear me?
Let me give my points and come back to Danielle if we need that. But one of the things that I see is that everything's changing so fast, and I think when we look to all the big organizations, technology organizations, shares a lot about what's new. This is what's new. This is what's new in the market. This is what we can do. This is what we can do better. And this is what it's happening, right? So people are like enthusiastic about what's new, but as well a little bit in the motion of, okay, I don't know where to start. Where do I need to choose? What is the best product? What is the best way of working? Where's my role? What's happening with my role? And I think that's also part of the community to keep up and in a really nice way, that you say, okay, I want to learn this. Is someone who can help me with that? So that is, I think, really important in the way that we work now with AI. It's community is one of the big things that people need to invest, go to conferences, learn from each other, like offline networking as well, online networking, because it goes so fast that people really don't understand what's happening there. So I think that's one of the things that's also really helping in when it's looking in the diversity part, going together to a conference, like what Danielle said in the beginning with 8 people. Yes, of course, I see that. The same thing I see as well. And how amazing is it that you have like a group of 20 people who go into like an event together and say, okay, I'm a little bit scared to go. Let's go together. Let's do a session together, or let's join. Because in our way of thinking, we always think that it's a man's world, and it's not that anymore. Yes, there are a lot of more men in the room than women. That's what we also see. But there are a lot of people as well who want to help us and really like us to join. So yeah, I think when we think about community perspective and diversity, it's needed to keep ahead of everything that's there. And the last thing is, I think you can be who you want, and maybe that sounds a little bit crazy, but by using AI, you can go wherever you want to learn and change your role or your perspective or where you want to grow to. And there are things that you never learned before that you can do now because you're learning in a community. And I think learning is one of the things that we all want to do, never ever have time for. And being inspired of sharing your knowledge or getting knowledge is something that really useful.
I agree. And it's not only about, I think one of the things that I want to, I guess, bring back from what you said is you can be anybody you want to be. And so when you have a community that allows you to grow and learn and be somebody else, that maybe your work doesn't allow that, or, you don't have the experience yet, but that's where you want to go, right? But then that's how you learn. So it's the platform. Back to what you were saying, Danielle, just a few seconds ago, which is so important, giving somebody the platform, right?
Yeah.
True. And maybe, Melissa, it's also good to mention, like a lot of people saying from men perspective, we also want a community. We also want to have something that we can come together. Why do you have like a women community?
Yeah.
And I need to say, I think in a lot of sessions, everyone can join, everyone can learn. It's not special for women, but it's needed to have a safe space and be with each other and share why you're scared to go to a conference because of that. Yeah, I think it's also good to mention that as well.
Absolutely. Well, Danielle, I know you focus on Power BI, right? But I think AI is affecting absolutely everything in our universe. So because we are focused on AI and learning together in a community, I wanted to ask you, is there anything in particular that you guys are doing in order to help with AI adoption for women in particularly in your community?
Yeah, so sadly, I'm actually not the Power BI person. Power Platform, yes, in the automation and apps and Copilot space. Funny enough, in the Microsoft world, Power BI is actually its own little bucket of interesting, great individuals who are more on the data science and reporting and all that stuff. So where my focus is more on the apps and automation. What we're doing in our community is, one, we're leveraging it. So we're having it help us with actually our mentoring matching. So Perna has done an amazing job where she's actually helping because take it back, our first cohort, we're on cohort 4 that will be kicking off in a couple of days. We had 20 people and we're like, okay, this is manageable. 20, love this. Real niche little group. Our second cohort was like 40 something, and Shravani will absolutely come after me with real numbers, but I'm just going to give you some basics. Second cohort, okay, we doubled. Phenomenal, yes. And we're like, okay, it's a little bit more work to match everybody up. Third was over like about 100. And this time around, we actually had to stop at 147 because we can't, like, we gotta figure this out. So this is where we're starting to really show an edge of how are we going to use AI to help us be smarter. We're all volunteer run. We all have day jobs, but we want to show up in our best way. And how can we short stack ourselves from having to take on hours of work? And where can we use AI to do that? So yeah, I think it's more and more just through our leadership team that we're starting to use it, and then saying, how do we share this back to the community? What are some of the ways that you can be thinking of leveraging AI? And one of the other ones is AI, right? Maria Enriquez is running that and heading up that. It's such a bold effort to just really say, how are we showing up as women in AI? And one of the coolest conversations I had with one of the ladies there was medical stuff. You know, she was like, it's not business related. She's like, but I literally took all my labs and put it in, and it was able to diagnose me just like my doctor, but it took my doctor 7 years. You know, and we all know the stats on that kind of stuff. So anyways, I'm seeing it coming from really interesting angles, even through parenting a 15-year-old, which, by the way, don't do it. It's awful. But my 15-year-old will actually text me, and I'm like, this is absolutely AI. So one, hands, you know, like, good job, you're using technology, love that for you. Second, it's not going to win you the right to buy a motorcycle, and that's what he's really on right now. He's like, I want a motorcycle, and I was like, I love that for you. Once you are independently on your own and pay for all your bills, including medical, yeah, go for it. But anyways, it's showing up in different places that I'm like talking with some of the women in the communities who are raising kids. I'm like, who's seeing AI in parenting? And they're like, oh my gosh, like, that's an avenue I never thought I'd find myself, that my child can now deep research something and come at me with actual good logical sense that we know they didn't come up with. And now I'm like, you guys are forcing me to say the thing I always said I would never do, which is because I said so. I'm like, I can't fight your logic. You're coming with great rationale, bullet points, a PowerPoint, you know, and all of that's being done through AI. But the answer is still no. Thank you. You know, thanks for bringing all this up. So anyways, it's many different angles, but I am finding with Women in Power, it's not just business. It is in general. How am I approaching AI? What am I expecting out of it? How do I show up to make sure that the models are going to actually pull in, so that when I describe myself, it doesn't always put me in a curvy detailing or, you know, highlight bold women, you know, things that I'm like, that is like, where did you get your information? That kind of stuff. So it's pretty varied. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with just recognizing how to show up and do those things with each other.
That's awesome. It's really awesome. I really need to laugh about your child, and so it also gives something that, yeah, and it also gives something that, like, the next generation, right? It's growing so fast, and there are so many people who are even need to start or don't believe in it, right? And yeah, the next generation is coming there. I'm so curious what's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, and also my 12-year-old used it to argue bedtime. I kid you not. Like, he's actually the one who showed the 15-year-old, and he's like, wait, I know how to get this. And I'm like, co-conspirators? Absolutely not. Now my 10-year-old, he's more just like a physical out being person. He's not the biggest on tech, but even my 7-year-old daughter will do it for art. She loves describing images. That's because she really enjoys art, but she's 7. She doesn't have the skill set. So she's even using it in that way, which has highlighted, again, some bias that's out there and things that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize with this description, I would get this kind of, you know, experience. So it's interesting to have a parenting perspective, not just the business side of it.
Well, and like we said, right, AI, I think, is touching everything and everyone, which is why we are in communities, right? So I think we've established that adoption really thrives in community, because you can learn about it, not just for your business, but like you said, parenting, things that you never thought about
Yeah.
then you can learn within this community in a very safe space. So if you are listening out there and you are thinking about AI, couple of things I want to mention. First of all, come to a community, join a community. It doesn't have to be ours, but join someone, your family, your friend, your teacher, your coworker, somebody that is willing to build community with you and learn together so that you can leverage what each other is thinking. And number two, I would love it if you please do yourselves all a favor. When the product is free, the product is you. So make sure that you are paying for all of these subscriptions. It is like $20 or $30 a month. You spend that more than that at Starbucks on a daily. So just please.
That's not in the Netherlands. That's not in the Netherlands.
Well, let me tell you, everybody does. But what I'm saying is your privacy, your, who you are in a data universe is important. It's a value. Otherwise, Facebook would be worth zero because it's never charged anything, right? So it's important that we do that. But lastly, on that same one is if you are paying for your subscription, it doesn't guarantee that your data is secure. So go into the settings, uncheck the I do not want you to please use this to train your LLMs. Super important. So join a community, however you want to call it, whomever is in there, learn with others. So now, we've established the community is really important and that if we do it together, it's easier. But then if AI is rewriting the workplace as we see it, right, and that's the base of a lot of these communities, how do we reimagine things like leadership, like collaboration, right? Like how does that kind of build in some of that security that we sometimes need for leadership? How does AI help us in a safe way? Because yes, there's a lot of wrongs, right? It takes electricity, it takes water, it takes power, it takes all these other things. But if we are not talking about that just now, just from the perspective of growth, how does that work? So why don't you ladies tell me your thoughts?
Yeah, when you think about leadership and collaboration, I think there are so many things to say about it. I think we can have a podcast all about this topic, but
I would agree.
yeah, but a few things that come up in my mind is, of course, when you're starting with AI, good leadership is needed to have a vision and strategy to understand where the organization needs to go and how you can help each other on that. And I think the same is in a community. You need to go where the community is based on and how you can help people, and everyone who joins need to know what it can get, but also can give to the community. So I think that's really important. The other thing is like AI, and it gives you so many things like that they say time saving or better relationship with your customer. I don't know. You can think a lot of things that AI is giving you back. But I think good leadership is as well understanding what are you doing with it, because we are people doing a lot of things. Are we creating more communities? Are we doing our email? Are we having time with our family? I think the real value is in it when you doing things with AI. What is the real thing that it gives you back? Is it a vision? Is it time to well spent on projects? Is it creating more emails or that kind of thing? So I think from strategy part, from innovation part, it's really important to have understandable way of AI, what it is for your organization and how you can use it, but as well the adoption part and knowing how people need to have like a new habits or understanding what is changing for them. That's also leadership. And I think we don't have that much focus on at the moment. We always talk about it gives you this back and it gives you this back and it gives you this back, but we're changing lives with each other. And we need to talk with each other from leadership to all the people in the organization or in different kind of roles who are working with AI to understand what this really is for now. And the next generation that we talked about from Danielle's son, who already using different AI tools.
Absolutely.
I think there's, I'll say the quiet stuff out loud, right? There's a lot of fear. And what I'm realizing was that in a bittersweet move, it is fostering a lot more community build. People are actually searching out more humans because they see where we can go if we don't keep a human in the loop of some capacity, right? So I think there's a negative positive spin that we're seeing within people saying, I don't want to be so disconnected that I'm just using AI to get everything done. So how do I collaborate across this? And I'll give you a great example. In Microsoft Space, we have to do territory reviews. They are dreaded because it's a lot of information that we're saying, hey, we're going to go do these big things with these customers, and here's what my quote is going to be, and yada yada. It's very in depth, and we have to do it in a very short time because sometimes we change territories. And I saw the coolest thing come together on Friday as one of my AEs is getting ready to present on the territory. We had 4 women on a call, and each of us were like, oh, let me put that part into Copilot. Let me do this. Let me do this. We had one screen that was an Excel file that looked horrendous, and we copied that image out, and we were like, hey, make this prettier, add these colors, do that stuff. And our AE was like, this is amazing. Look how fast we're getting through this, right? But it was the collaboration of us having the knowledge of those tools that was actually bringing it all together so nicely. Yes, we saved time. Yes, our information was probably even more diabolically awesome because we used research or an analyst and all these other pieces. But it was us knowing at the core what our vision and strategy was on how we wanted to leverage the tools that were available to us. And so that's one thing. The other part is understanding that AI is not so much replacing, but it's amplifying. Right? It's giving me a new superpower I didn't know I needed. And so, yes, do I get to log off early sometimes? Yes. Or sometimes what I find is I have more time to learn. And a curious little cat who likes to tinker and build and do those kind of things, I now won myself an hour of guilt-free that I didn't have to take away from family time. But it's not so much yes, getting that, but I'm also advancing in a different way, right? And so those are the pieces that I think are really big. When it comes to leadership, acknowledging that we're in a fast and furious piece, it's almost like we need rules, but we can't abide in a black and white rule set. We've got to start thinking more open-minded of how are we really accomplishing this? How are we bringing our customers and just the communities together? That way it is some fear, but we amplify the superpower, and that replaces the fear. And now it's replaced with a community and a human. I can say, hey, I did this research. Copilot helped me do these things. What are your thoughts? Oh, you know what? I didn't put the prompt in that way. Now I'm getting completely something different. I'm building off. I'm loving the collaboration space this is opening up, but I don't have to do all the messy part in front of them. I can bring it to them and then say, what am I missing here? Or is this the right feedback that you were looking for? So I think there's a lot of elements to that.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that it's so powerful because it is a way of helping all of us change our mindset, right? Yeah. As a leader, you're thinking about collaboration differently. And as a person, as an individual that belongs to a team, we are all thinking about, or we should start thinking about our output in a way that it isn't going to be giving us the same thing we're doing now, but how can we get further? How can we produce better work? And how can we do better for ourselves even in the world where everything changes so fast? So I love that. Well, we are almost out of time. So I do want to ask Danielle, is there anything that you want to say, that you want to promote, that you want to talk about that we didn't touch on today?
Oh, so many things, right? There's always so many.
You're a salesperson. Come on.
So here, I would say a couple of things. One, join the communities that are available to you. There's an endless supply. You will find your jam, and it's okay if a community doesn't work out for you. But you've got to find the one that speaks to you. And like I said, be greedy with it. Join multiple because they're going to give you different point of views, and that's beautiful. join our cohorts, right? We're specifically looking for women who want to get mentored. We have allies within our mentoring group. So you don't just only have women in there, which is great for our perspective and gaining better allyship throughout that. And then third, if I can, I will definitely promote Power Platform Community Conference because we'll be there. So if you're looking to learn more about communities, how to connect, do all that kind of stuff, find us at Power Platform Community Conference in Vegas, October 28th through 30th. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Like came out so fast, right?
Fantastic. Femke, I think we have some promoting to do as well, right?
I leave it to you.
Oh, thank you. We, Femke and myself, and our group of fantastic rock stars. So Anna and Justine and Mona and Heather, we're all going to be at New York Experts Live, October 10th. So don't miss it. I am going to be part of the panel with Femke and them, and also I have my own presentation on Copilot, so don't miss it. And we are available to you, like Danielle said, join a community. Femke, last thoughts.
I think we also need to find Danielle on LinkedIn, of course. That's also where we can find more information about Danielle. Thank you so much for joining us, the first one. And thank you, Melissa, for putting this up because I think it's amazing. So I hope lots of women will shine here in this podcast episodes that will coming through. Thank you for all the things that you both do in the Microsoft space or in the community. I want to say goedenavond. Tot de volgende keer. That's in Dutch.
Well,
now it's your turn.
I'll say in my very Texas way, thank y'all very much for this opportunity. This has been huge, of course, like being with both of you, Rockstar ladies. This is what we're all about, right? Making these connections, building upon each other, right? We're just getting on shoulders after shoulders after shoulders, and we're just getting higher and higher. So thank you for the opportunity and all that you're doing in this space as well.
Well, thank you both. And now, if this lifted you, then share it because this is a change that starts with community. And we hope to see you next time, Rockstars.
Bye.